What's up, YouTube? What's up? How y'all doing? Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and ride with me on this Amber Alert. Everybody is trying to figure out what is happening to these children. I'm trying to figure out how in today's world we have so many kids missing. So this was sent to me, and I'm hoping that this information that I'm putting out is helping us understand what is happening to the kids. In order to fight this problem, we need to understand the problem first. So I just want y'all to take a look at this. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, and I want you to listen to, this is going to be a two-part, and I want you to listen to how we can help spread the information so everybody can start helping. Does that make sense? So without any further ado, we're doing our best over here. So let's check this out.
It was just like facilities. No homes, no buildings.
The child becomes property of the United States federal government once he's processed into your facility.
Basically, until he gets a judgment, then they decide if he goes back or not.
HHS was telling you guys that there was a third party, that this address was put in the system. Every address that got put in the system was verified and vetted before you guys were authorized to release.
And that I know because I did ask that, because obviously it is part of the protocol in placing a child into a home.
So after the child is actually delivered to the sponsor, HHS is supposed to be doing a 30-day wellness call. Can you tell us, were you ever doing any of those calls?
I've never heard anything of that being done.
From what we were told, that's how they came to the conclusion that there's 325,000 missing children. Those are the children that they called, and nobody answered that phone, or somebody answered and said, sorry, we gave away the child.
Our investigation found thousands of those children are now disappearing from those sponsor homes.
What types of documentation were you guys being told to accept? This person's coming from Guatemala, so he probably doesn't have a U.S. birth certificate or a U.S. passport.
Oh, they don't have an ID? Okay, whatever, from their country.
To an unknown 49-year-old male, he's black, and you could be releasing a 3-year-old Chinese girl to somebody that's obviously a different race, and the only document he have could be a birth certificate from Africa.
Yeah.
That man is evil. Him, 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗅𝗡, these are the men that are going to hang when this is over. And I'm not afraid to say it, when they are found guilty of the crimes that they committed and what's been done to these children, there won't be a place not in America where these men can hide. Some of the most egregious things that you've seen while you were working.
You know, one of the things I keep going over in my mind when Cat Williams said, all lies will be exposed. That's all. That's all. In the year 2025, it is time for all of us to go to work. It is time.
What is up, Rumble? Welcome to the Ryan Matta Show.
This is the most important part to begin. This is where we all need to begin, is using this algorithm to our advantage. Listen to this.
I am your host, Ryan Matta. I think we're supposed to say matter of fact. I'm kind of weird. I'm not over on LFA anymore, but it is so great to see you guys. Wow, I've been on a long journey. It's been a long month, honestly. I think I've only been home about 6 or 7 days for the last 30 days, and we've been breaking story after story. We just got back from El Salvador. I got a lot to unpack there, but I kind of want to just focus on today's documentary, which is Operation Amber Alert. We're going to be back to the regular show at 2 p.m. Eastern every day, Monday through Friday, over here on the Ryan Matta Rumble Network. And I'm working on getting us live over on X as well. So I just want to tell everybody, thank you guys. I'm so excited that the LFA audience is coming over here. God bless you guys. Thank you guys for supporting me and continue to support me. This documentary is going to absolutely blow your mind. If you guys thought Trafficked was good, and you understood enough in Trafficked, I think that this is going to kind of help paint the picture of this public-private partnership that the United States government has created with the Mexican cartels and the NGOs. So DHS has created a public-private partnership with the Mexican cartels, where the Mexican cartels, let's just ask yourself this, have you ever seen Mexican cartels bring pounds and pounds of fentanyl and drop it over a border wall and just give it to the Border Patrol agents? They would never give their merchandise and just hand it over to Border Patrol, unless they knew that Border Patrol was going to deliver that merchandise to a buyer in America. So what we see here is we see the cartels who have kidnapped and trafficked children, delivering them over a border wall and just dropping them to cartel members, because they know that that Border Patrol agent now works for the cartels. And that Border Patrol agent is going to take that child, he's going to take the information on the child's t-shirt, and he's going to put it into the system, he's going to process them into the system. So DHS has created this public-private partnership with the Mexican cartels. And these Border Patrol agents, at first, maybe we could have said, hey, maybe they didn't know it. It was not their fault. They're just, what does it James O'Keefe say? They're just doing their job, right? They're just doing their job. If your job involves you delivering a migrant child to a pedophile in America, shame on you, you coward, that you continue to keep that job. And when all of this is done, I hope Tom Homan goes through there and cleans house. I hope you all lose your gosh damn pensions. I hope you lose your pay. I hope you lose it all, because you deserve to, because you're a gosh damn coward and you're not willing to stand up and protect these women and children. We're going to paint that entire picture for you guys. So by the time that this is over, Tom Homan will have all of the evidence that he needs to put these prisoners in for life. Now, what's really important about this is I've spent $25,000 out of my own pocket. I don't have any partners. I don't have any sponsors. I don't have anybody. This is bought and paid for by me, for you guys. I have a donation link, which you guys will see in the documentary if you guys would like to support, but it's not about the money. What I want more than anything, and I'm praying for, is that this goes viral on X. So this is the first step right here. The first thing that he said was actually introducing you to the whole, summing up the whole problem, summing up where the problem lies at. But now, this is the beginning of the breakdown, and I'm breaking this whole thing down because I want you all to understand where you can start helping that, where you can start helping that. So here we go. Supposed to release at 8 a.m., but you guys know my editor and his style. I didn't get it until about an hour and a half ago. So I was literally editing this at 12:45, trying to fix all the stuff that I didn't get the chance to actually fix. If I would have had an extra 2 days, it would have been even better. So I had to fix some things, and we're putting it out last minute. It was supposed to release on X this morning at 9 a.m. But the only way that this documentary is going to make an impact is if it goes viral. I don't need Elon or any big players to tweet this. What I need is the algorithm to fall in love with this documentary. So if you guys could do me the biggest favor, tonight when you go to bed, will you please put on this documentary? I don't care if you listen to it. It just has to play. The algorithm just has to understand that you're going to watch, that you're interested in this video. And if every single person that watches this documentary literally watches 100%, or it'll even do up to 200% watch time. So if you watch it twice and let it play, when you're going to bed, just put it on play and let the algorithm do its thing. And the algorithm should naturally, consistently push this out. Now, you guys can also go and drop comments. Comments are worth a lot, but what's worth the most is a bookmark. And then after you watch the documentary, click on my profile. So if you go from the video to my profile, everything's a weighted score. So like a like is like half a point. A comment is like 3 points. If you follow me because of that tweet, that's like 8 points. But if you go from the tweet to my profile and you actually view my profile, I think that's like 32 points. And then if you bookmark it, I think it's like 8 points or something like that. So all of these things are how tweets are scored. And the higher the weight, the more engagement, the more it's going to push it out to the algorithm. Coffin McGroin, we got the McGroin Nation in the house. AB 1965, Bar, Breezy, I see you. EMP Hands in the house. Good to see you. Tim D, what up? I've got the whole LFA audience. Barb, good to see you. Hazel Kitty in here. Who else we got? Brenda's Lynn. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Thank you guys for smashing that like button. We're going to get the whole McGroin Nation in here. We're going to blow this stream up today. So do me a favor. Slave to liberty, my man. Okay, that little part right there was just enough to get regular people to understand the algorithm. Now, he's talking about X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, but nobody knows how any of these other algorithms work 100%. We're guessing by trial and error, and they always changing the algorithms, but that's basically how all of them work. The more you watch, the more they push out. The more everybody watches, the more they push out. The more they push out, the more this message is getting to the right people. Help the children. That's the only way we can help them. Help the children. My man, Matt Baker is in the house. Let's go, buddy. You guys ready for it? I'll quit over talking. And if you guys could just do me a solid, smash that like button. Let's rumble this stream. You guys ready for it? Let's get it.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala, where are the children? Kamala, where are the children?
America, what if I told you that the United States federal government was running the largest child trafficking network in the history of the world?
The U.S. has become the middleman in a multi-billion-dollar migrant child trafficking operation at the border.
Experts have told us that these kids are being drugged with Rohypnol to prevent them from telling authorities that these are not my parents. That's why they drug these children, so that these children are able to get trafficked across the border.
And that's what happens when you have these soft immigration policies that are allowing people to come in droves.
Say you're a family, and we'll take your word for it.
Are you ashamed for what you've done to this country?
America, what if I told you that the United States Border Patrol agents would create a public-private partnership with Mexican cartels so they could traffic in unaccompanied alien children into America?
We have people in there that have been bought out, unfortunately. That's a reality.
Should Secretary Mayorkas be impeached, sir?
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
How can you say no when you know he's broken his oath?
The DHS under Mayorkas sent a memo out asking the Border Patrol agents to withhold information from the Office of Inspector General.
It's corrupt. It's corruption. And it all starts at the top.
America, what if I told you that this entire operation was the Democrat agenda and it was being bankrolled by Republicans? Would you believe me, or would you call me a conspiracy theorist?
The power of the purse, and we will use it, and we will use it. One is oversight, and that's a job that we have, and also, of course, the use of the power of the purse. We need accountability, and we will hold these administrators accountable.
The Democrats got everything they want in the spending, and all the hawks got what they want too. All of their
Think about it this way. Think about it this way. Something got to be wrong. We have to start thinking a little different and say, oh, we're just going to leave it in the hands of our government, our child protective service. We have children that are saying out of their mouth, and we're not listening. We're not listening. They are saying that child protective services are the ones who put me in trafficking. I'm not saying nothing else. This is what they saying. I'm not saying anything else, because every time I tell somebody, they don't believe me and they tell on me. And then the same people say, oh, you're going to go and run your mouth? You're going back in. The child, to the trafficking. I'm trying to make sure I don't say the words. What if the big people that we depend on to help are the ones doing it?
This while the border is yet to be secured.
That's what the first thing we need to
Why do you think that
about.
is?
They're afraid of the agencies. That's not compatible with democracy.
Yes, you heard that right. The U.S. government has been hijacked by a network of elite pedophiles so entrenched that they are practically the wallpaper in Congress, the Senate, the White House, and every three-letter agency you can name. By the end of this, you won't just see your government differently. You'll see it for the cesspit of corruption and moral decay it truly is. Get ready to have your world rocked.
Whatever happened to the power of the purse? But for some reason, Republicans in the Senate are afraid to do this, and I can't for the life of me understand why.
I think the reason is because they're threatened.
because they've been compromised by some of these Codell trips overseas, where these members of both the House and the Senate get compromised by sleeping with children.
Washington, D.C. is ground zero for pedophilia among the elite.
And this.
Did y'all hear that? Oh my God. I cannot, my jaw is dropping over this. Look at the P. Diddy stuff. Look at the Epstein. I can't even remember the boy's name. I refuse to remember his name. I'm just asking y'all to think about it. How do these people get so big and get away with it? And now they saying Diddy is he's an FBI agent or he's working with the feds or whatever they saying. If you put all these dots together and put a 50% possibility that everybody is, what they saying is correct, you would come to where we at right now and be like, man, this is, it's 50-50 on everything. Just put a 50% on it.
Continues on through the White House, through the Justice Department. It's not a swamp, it's an open sewer.
And these are the big wigs that know what they talking about. They are already into the government and stuff. These people are better than us on the investigation side. What you think?
Everyone in this room knows what an Amber Alert is. We all get them on our phones, right? This is when a child has been kidnapped. And we are so concerned in this country about children who have been kidnapped that we have something called an Amber Alert, notifying all of us that there is a missing child. 85,000 children missing, migrant children missing in the United States is the same thing as 85,000 Amber Alerts.
According to a new DHS report, Kamala Harris also lost more than 300,000 migrant children that she allowed to be trafficked into our country. These children are gone. Many of them are dead, and many of them are in sex rings and all sorts of things going on. It's a terrible thing, and nobody does anything about it.
How many of those children have you rescued? Can you give me a number?
You are conflating issues.
So you can't give me a number. You haven't rescued any of these children. You haven't gotten any of them back. It doesn't sound to me like this is a priority, and I have to tell you, that's what your own agents tell me as well.
Senator, I follow the rules scrupulously.
What are these wristbands?
I don't know what they are.
You don't know what they are. These are children being sold into sex slavery, and you don't even know what they are. That is astonishing, Mr. Secretary.
Look at this kid is drugged. Look at that. Wow.
Oh my God. Come on now. He said it. This kid is drugged. He said it. That little kid, and he keep kissing him because that's the training they go through. You kiss your loved one. You kiss this kid. That is not his kid. This is just a kid I'm trying to take over the border, and then I go back because we need money. It's all this stuff circle around money, big money. I got to play that again, man.
Mr. Secretary.
Look at this kid is drugged. Look at that. Wow.
Y'all can pause it, but come on, Trump. I'm counting on you, Trump.
Today, I stand before you.
In office now. You are in office now. I'm counting on you, Trump. If I guarantee you, everybody who voted for the wrong person, if y'all start looking at this stuff and y'all see a big overgrown big difference in the next 4 years, you're going to be sorry. You're going to wake up. You're going to start reading, and you're going to start investigating for yourself like I did. I started investigating for myself, and I went to the winning team. We will win.
Not as an ordinary individual, but as a chosen servant. Today, I stand before you, not as an ordinary individual, but as a chosen servant. I've been sent on a divine mission. You may ask, where is God in all this chaos? Well, I ask you in return, Who do you think sent me? I am here to speak about the mission that has been laid upon my heart. A mission so urgent, so monumental, that it resonates with the very essence of human compassion and divine justice. God has revealed to me a grave injustice. 437,103 unaccompanied alien children have been trafficked into America since the Biden administration took office. These are not just numbers. These are lives, souls, children who are in dire need of rescue from the shadows of the American nightmare that they are living. Where is God? He is here, working through us, through me, to right these wrongs. I stand before you wearing the armor of God, not as a physical metal, but as an unyielding faith, courage, and righteousness. I am here to declare that I am unafraid of the daunting task, unafraid of confrontation, and unapologetic in my mission. For those who might question or depose my divine calling, I urge you to reconsider. This is a mission about saving children, about restoring innocence. God's children are not for sale. If you so much as touch a hair from one of their precious little heads, it's men like me who plan to hunt you down. You ask, where is God? He is in the resolve of the willing to act, in the hearts of those who still believe in justice, in the hands that reach out to lift these children from the abyss. God has not abandoned us. He has empowered us, giving us the strength to be his hands and his feet in this world. Let it be known that through prayer, action, and unwavering faith, we will not only rescue these children, but also illuminate a path for others to follow. We will show that when God calls, his servants answer, ready to face any challenge, armed with love, truth, and the undefeated will to serve. To those who might think of obstructing or undermining this sacred duty, I pray for your soul. Forgiveness is between you and your God. I've just been sent to arrange the meeting.
Think of it like this, y'all. Why all these families, why all these people going to the border? Why are they going there? If they don't have proper paperwork, just ask yourself this. Why are they even going to the border? They can't get in. Why are is it 320,000 per year, something like that Trump said? Look at the numbers. Oh my God. Then I ain't even talking about the government officials that don't know what the wristbands are, which wristband is what. I'm asking you to ask yourself, why are they even going to the border in the first place? Something's there for them. They don't have no paperwork to get in. Why won't you just walk to a border? You don't have no paperwork to get in. Think about it.
Another message to the criminal cartels in Mexico.
We will show no mercy to the cartels.
He's going to designate you a terrorist organization, and he's going to wipe you off the face of the earth.
Drug smugglers and human traffickers receive the death penalty.
You're done. You're done.
We've got a new administration coming in. I've heard some comments by some of the nominees, because as has been stated, there's at least, I think 320,000 is the number that I've heard here in the United States.
DHS issued a report stating the number lost UACs was not 85,000, it was over 320,000.
Trafficked, exploited, and the staggering 320,000 missing migrant children.
When you hear the number 320,000 missing children, it can be hard to wrap your mind around what a figure like that might look like. I need you to understand the full scale of this operation so you can comprehend how corrupt our government really is. The video you are watching on the screen is Michigan University's football stadium called the Big House, the largest football stadium in America with a seating capacity of 100,000. If we take 3 of those stadiums and we set them side by side, this will give you a great visualization of what 323,000 missing children would look like. On August 19th of 2024, the Office of Inspector General and the Department of Homeland Security released a report that stated HHS had taken custody of over 448,820 UACs. UAC stands for unaccompanied alien child. These are children that arrive at the U.S. border without a parent. As of August 24th, 2024, HHS has openly admitted to losing 323,000 children. Now, in order to understand why I say people like DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, HHS Secretary 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦, and ORR Director Robert Marcos will be sentenced to death if they are found guilty of the crimes that we expose in our documentary. To grasp the full implications of this situation, it's important to understand the roles and responsibilities of these key figures and their respective organizations in managing the issue of unaccompanied alien children. HHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, as the head of the Department of Homeland Security, he oversees border security and immigration enforcement, which directly impacts the intake and initial processing of UACs. Next, we have HHS Secretary 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦. The Department of Health and Human Services under 𝗟𝗡𝗡𝗞𝗦 takes custody of UACs once they cross the border. HHS, through its Office of Refugee Resettlement, is responsible for the care, placement, and eventual release of these children. Next, we have ORR Director Robin Marcos. As the director of the Office of Refugee Resettlement, Marcos oversees the welfare and placement of these children in the U.S., including ensuring they are placed in safe environments. The Office of Refugee Resettlement, led by Marcos, is central to this crisis. Allegations against these officials suggest systemic failures, criminal neglect, trafficking of children across state lines, child endangerment, and crimes against humanity, all of which could lead to severe legal consequences when proven in court. Let's start with ORR. The Office of Refugee Resettlement, ORR, is ran by Robin Marcos. If we swing over to ORR's website, we can find the unaccompanied children released to sponsors state by state. On the left, you will see the state. At the top, you will see the year, 2015 all the way to the left, and up to July 2024 on the right. If we scroll down to the bottom of the page, we can see the total number of unaccompanied migrant children who came across that border without a parent. The first number I have highlighted is 2020. During Trump's last year as president, only 16,837 UACs arrived at the border without a parent. Not one of those 16,837 children were released to an unvetted sponsor. Under the Trump administration, every child that arrived at the border was DNA tested. The only way a child could be released to an adult is if the parent took a DNA test. Fast forward 1 year, Biden takes office, and the numbers explode by 639%. In 2021, 107,646 UACs arrived at the southern border. In 2022, 127,447. 2023, 113,495. And last but not least, 88,515 UACs arrived at the southern border as of July 1st, 2024. Since Joe Biden took office and Kamala Harris was appointed the border czar, 437,103 migrant children ranging in age from 0 to 17 were delivered to Border Patrol agents by Mexican cartels. That's an average of 124,886 children per year that arrive at the U.S. border in search of the American dream.
I asked so many people, please wake up, people. I asked so many people exactly what is her duty as vice president. Do you know what the duty of a vice president is? Look that up. Look that up. She is now vice president right now. So my question to you is, does the vice president just sit there and wait for something to happen to the president in order to start doing something? Or are we paying the vice president anytime, any vice president, X amount of dollars per year to do something? They supposed to do something. Am I right or wrong? You tell me what they supposed to do, and you would go right to the source of the problem. Right to the source.
To find out that they've been sold into the American nightmare. Over a 3.5-year period, HHS has admitted to losing 323,000 migrant children. 323,000 divided by 3.5 gives us roughly 92,857 per year. Do you guys remember receiving 92,000 Amber Alerts last year? I sure don't. If we take 92,857 and we divide that by 365 days per year, you can see that on average, 252 migrant children vanish every single day. Could you imagine getting 250 Amber Alerts every day? That's 11 per hour. So I ask you, America, where the hell are the missing 323,000 children?
There's more than 300,000 children.
Love to know.
Over 300,000 children. They came through the border, they released them, and we don't know where they are.
The question they don't want us asking is, where are all the missing children? What happens to these children? How can hundreds of thousands of kids go missing in the United States every year and nobody knows where they are? They just vanish? I don't think so.
Kamala, where are the children? Kamala, where are the children?
Now, in order to answer the question where, first let me explain how. And in order to show you how that the United States government has entered this public-private partnership with these cartels, in order to show you how HHS and DHS and Border Patrol agents have replaced the mules, the smugglers, and the cartels, I need to show you how a normal trafficking operation runs, so that way when we come back and compare them later, you can understand side by side. Now, in order to answer the question where, first let me explain how. In order to understand how these children are vanishing, we first need to start at the beginning. Plausible deniability. Plausible deniability is the ability to deny knowledge of or responsibility for actions taken by others, often to avoid blame. This is where we first uncover the public-private partnership that DHS has made with these Mexican cartels. Let's take a look at how these child trafficking networks work and how their checkpoints are structured. Number 1, you have the merchandiser, the victim. Number 2, recruiter or kidnapper. 3, smuggler. 4, cartels. 5, the country of Mexico. 6, mules. 7, child traffickers. 8, stash house. 9, buyer. And number 10, once they make it into America, they are now living the U.S. nightmare. Now, before I can explain how this operation runs, I need you to understand a few things first. When we were discussing child trafficking, there are 3 critical phases that are very dangerous for the trafficker. Phase 1, and the least dangerous of all, is gaining possession of the child. This is the initial step, which might be the least risky, but sets the foundation for all subsequent exploitation, involving acquiring the child. Now, these methods can include kidnapping, which is forcibly taking a child against their will, coercion, which is manipulating or deceiving the child or their family into compliance, and number 3 is buying, purchasing the child from impoverished family or directly from other traffickers. Now, phase 2 is the second most dangerous part of the journey for the child trafficker, and that is smuggling the child across the border. This is the second most perilous leg of the operation for the trafficker due to the risk of border patrols, detection by authorities, and physical challenges of moving individuals across the nation's boundaries. Phase 3, delivering the child or the merchandise to a buyer in America. This phase tops the list as the most dangerous for the trafficker. It involves navigating through local law enforcement, potential witnesses, and a complex network of distribution, all while avoiding detection in the country with extensive surveillance and legal consequences for human trafficking. Let's talk about one example of how these traffickers get these children out of third world countries. In impoverished villages of third world countries, traffickers, aka or recruiters, employ deceptive tactics to coax family members into relinquishing their children. They often masquerade around as high-end nannying agencies, promising that a child will serve the household of American celebrities, thus offering them a shot at the American dream. Unfortunately for the child, once they are under the trafficker's control, they are savagely raped and beaten into submission. These children are quickly reminded of their dire consequences of resistance or escape. The threat of cartel violence against their family back home ensures compliance. This is but one method among many that traffickers use to acquire children. After securing the child from the village, they pass them into the hands of smugglers who then transport them to Mexico. Here, the trade in human lives has become horrifyingly efficient. Children have turned into the highest liquid commodity. To draw a parallel, just as one might steal a car and sell it quickly to a chop shop in Detroit, in Mexico, a child can be sold for $3,000 almost immediately. Some traffickers boast about abducting 3 to 5 children every day. This rampant trafficking contributes to the phenomenon of children from 180 different countries appearing in Mexico, each with their own heroic journey and desperate story, driven by the darkest machinery of human trafficking. From there, the cartels will traffic the children through Mexico to the U.S. border. Once they arrive at the border, the child will be trafficked into America by a mule. The mule only has one mission: taking the merchandise across the border and delivering the merchandise to the trafficker. Once the trafficker has the child in the United States, he will take the child to a stash house. A child trafficking stash house refers to a location used by human traffickers where children or minors are temporarily held during the process of trafficking. Children are often kept here after being moved from one place to another, especially if there's a need to change transportation, await payment, or further instructions. Sometimes these locations are used for direct exploitation, such as forced labor or sexual exploitation. Traffickers will use these houses to maintain control over their victims, often through physical enforcement, psychological manipulation, or threats of violence.
Consigue el dinero de los dos, porque si no dice que lo van a matar si no cortaron un dedo.
Once the payment for the child has been confirmed, the child trafficker will complete the most dangerous leg of the journey, delivering the child to a buyer in America. After that child is delivered to a buyer, there is less than a 1% chance that that child will ever be seen alive again. Now that you understand how normal child trafficking networks work, what do you think that network would look like if we turn those Border Patrol agents into mules, HHS employees into child traffickers, stash houses into NGOs, and we found a way to legally buy off or compromise local law enforcement? It would look like the world's largest child trafficking network sponsored by the United States government and funded with U.S. tax dollars. But don't take my word for it.
It is government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking.
They were being trafficked with billions of taxpayer dollars by a contractor failing to vet sponsors and process children safely, with government officials complicit in it.
The federal government is the last mile delivery for human trafficking, that they're being trafficked through Mexico, and the federal government and the federal taxpayer then picks up the last mile delivery in human trafficking.
Have you ever seen a video of cartels bringing their drugs over to the border wall and dropping them down to Border Patrol agents? No, me either.
U.S. Border Patrol released this nighttime video of a border wall drop-off.
And then moments later, you see another. The smugglers can be seen then running away. U.S. authorities rescued the children. Turns out they are sisters from Ecuador, just 3 and 5 years old, and the girls are now safely in U.S. custody.
Why would a human trafficker go through all the trouble of kidnapping a child, trafficking the child through Mexico, just so they could turn the child over to local law enforcement at the border? The answer is they would never do that. But yet, you could simply search YouTube, cartel drops child over border wall, and you can see 50 plus videos in a matter of seconds. This means that it happens consistently.
We got an unaccompanied minor right here, guys. This is heartbreaking right here. ¿Vienes sola, verdad? Ahí viene tu mami y tu papá. Tu papi está en el cielo. ¿Y tu mami?
You'll never see him again. They
dad is
featured
in heaven.
in the documentary yesterday. That
This is
little
crazy,
girl,
man.
It was the one little girl in the video that you just saw her face. Yep. We literally rescued that kid. We pulled her off to the side and we took her to the Border Patrol, only to then be mistreated. Like if we were doing something wrong by Border Patrol. It's crazy.
Meet Anthony Aguero. You might recognize his face from the recent James O'Keefe documentary called Line in the Sand. Or you might recognize his work that was featured in both of our documentaries, What is Treason #Trafficked and What is Treason #Invaded. Both films are available for sale at www.thisistreason.com.
There are a couple of documentaries that are out there about what's happened to over 300,000 children who have crossed the borders, the open borders, and they have been sex trafficked. These documentaries cost a lot to make, so there is a charge to watch them, $10 minimal, but still expensive for some. Is there anything that you can do to make these documentaries more widespread and available?
Well, that's good. That's a good point.
After premiering my first 2 documentaries, What is Treason #Trafficked and What is Treason #Invaded, it hit me. Locking these films behind a paywall isn't just un-American, it's counterproductive to our cause. How can we save these children if their stories aren't reaching every corner of the nation? That is why I've decided to foot the bill for this next film out of my own pocket. No partners, no strings attached, so I can give it away for free. We're talking about a production cost somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000. I know how tight money is for everybody, especially living in the Biden-Harris America. But if you can so much as skip a cup of coffee, even just a small donation, it would mean everything. Every dollar you chip in will be plowed right back into producing my next documentary. You can donate directly by going to my personal GiveSendGo at www.givesendgo.com/Operation Amber Alert. Now, if you'd like to go a step further and you are interested in becoming a part of history.
I'm gonna play that one more time, y'all, while I try to fight these tears back. Donate. Even
so
if
much
it's
as skip a
$1.
cup of coffee, even just a
Skip
small
a cup of
donation,
coffee.
it would mean everything. Every dollar you chip in will be plowed right back into producing my next documentary. You can donate directly by going to my personal GiveSendGo at www.givesendgo.com/Operation Amber Alert. Now, if you'd like to go a step further and you are interested in becoming a part of history, join me on Locals as a monthly supporter and become a crucial part of my journey as a documentary filmmaker. Your support will not only grant you access to exclusive behind-the-scenes content and early film releases, but you will directly fund the travel and expenses required to expose these pedophiles and this political corruption across our nation. Let's uncover the truth together. Sign up today and be a beacon for change in the world of documentary filmmaking.
Look, they're sedated. They are sedated. Look at them. Look at this.
They are saying it big time. There's no way in the
Where
world
do you
a baby can
draw the
sleep
line
that hard.
if you're working on that border, if you're working in one of these NGO facilities where the kids are being housed, whether you're part of this whole cover-up of this invasion of our nation? Where do you stand? Where do you draw that line in the sand between collecting your damn paycheck and doing what's right?
To me right now, it's the kids, man. I've never seen the situation over the kids like I've seen it these last 4 years. It's just gruesome, and it's just turned me into, it's just woken up a different side of me, especially that I have kids and I'm seeing them, and then I go back to the border and I see these kids and it's like, shit, bro. Like,
well, explain that. How did that interaction go down?
We arrived with the child, and I remember being a smart ass back with the guy. I told him, I'm sorry to cuss. I said, I'm fucking doing your job. The least you could do is be fucking nice, appreciative. It's on footage. He was pissed off that we were like, hey, get back. I'm like, dude, she's a little girl, bro. Like,
she looked like she was 10.
Tiny.
You guys were walking up and basically delivering somebody. The Border Patrol agents weren't getting out, like you just said. They were mad at you for rescuing a child.
And then we gotta also think, there's children that have been through the border multiple times. There's kids that literally get recycled. They come across the border and they get in with the trafficker because they didn't complain. They just, yes, my dad, my uncle, caretaker, That guy has already gamed the system. He's in the U.S. Miguelito goes back to their side of the border and does the whole trajectory all over again because there's no DNA testing being done. And even though they might do the retina in their eyes, there's nothing stopping them from, hey, this is not your kid. They can't stop them. They continue to process. Where in good faith do you as an agent continue just to do this? When do you say, I can't deal with this anymore? How can you continue to do that? It's just a job. Are you not capable of doing anything else other than process and traffic children? You're literally an extension to the trafficking machine. You're the processing line. You're known as the Uber patrol to the cartel. They use you as an extension. You work as hard as the cartel wants you to work. You're on their dime. You're on their call. When they call you, you're there. When they need your ass to go pick these people up, you're there. You don't get a pass anymore. We know what's going on. So you're either, what side of history do you want to be on?
250 children every day are delivered to a pedophile or a sex trafficker.
250 every day.
Biden administration says bring America to its knees by disrupting completely the immigration system as it stands today. This took a lot of prior planning, and it started back in the Obama days. And there's one thread that's continuous from Obama all the way through to Biden, okay? Alejandro Mayorkas. The man has been training for decades. He knew how to surgically tear apart our immigration system. We used to have 23,000 Border Patrol agents to handle the entirety of the southern border. We're down to under 15,000. And we can't keep up with attrition, retirements, but people just quitting because they just can't handle what they're seeing anymore. We have a record number of entries this country has never seen before. Child trafficking for sex, for labor, or for organs. Adult trafficking, male and female trafficking at record high levels. The FBI, who we can't trust with anything. When illegal aliens commit homicides and crimes, they don't even count it. And this network has been going on this entire time.
These children are getting delivered to a vetted sponsor.
You said that you were on vacation, and now you're moving this small child to the airport. I thought you were on vacation.
And then these children are running away from that sponsor.
Yeah, they're trying to escape.
I don't have feelings. What do you mean? I don't feel sad. I don't feel mad. I don't feel happy.
You can't ask any questions about the sponsor. You can't look into it. You can't investigate. You just release them to wherever they're going to go.
There's no ID check.
Why weren't there abuse checks? If I was going to go here,
and that's where our responsibility ends.
They're using what's.
Come on now. Come on, man. They sitting there, they know what they doing. That's what kills me.
And they're texting somebody that's supposed to be the sponsor.
Why weren't there abuse checks? If I was going to go here,
and that's where our responsibility ends.
They're using WhatsApp and they're texting somebody that's supposed to be the sponsor, and the sponsor is submitting them identification. It's overwhelmingly obvious that that ID is fake, and they're being told that their job is not to investigate.
Smuggling humans has become more lucrative than smuggling drugs. You can sell a drug once, you can sell a human 5-6 times for decades.
They had started with 2 Airbus 320s or 360s, I forget what model is, but they're about 350 million. Today, 4 years later, they have 17. Their company's worth billions of dollars now. And pilots have said that they've taken the same migrant back home 14 times.
Couldn't get any worse.
Our government has now taken over the most 2 dangerous legs of the journey for the child trafficker, and they've turned our government into the largest child trafficking network that the world has ever seen. A child comes to their custody, and that sweet, innocent child sees a man in a green uniform, and that is the last authority figure that they see before they're delivered into the American nightmare. And these children are chained in basements, and they're raped 7 to 10 times a day if they're lucky. Those are the good ones.
Yeah.
The bad ones, it's 30 to 40 times a day.
Yeah. Alejandro Mayorkas. This man is a mastermind. He's a chess player. When he's sitting before Congress, he is the smartest man in the room. He has no reason to fear anybody in that room. All he's got to do is sit there with a smirk on his face and keep repeating the same old lie. We're executing the plan. And the plan is to completely flood America with so many illegal aliens in this country that at one point or another, and by the way, who are they going to be loyal to?
Let's strip away the euphemisms and face the stark reality. Those children that are being hoisted over the border wall like packages, they are not seeking refuge. Each child is a commodity, a transaction in human flesh.
They're a commodity. So human life, human beings are a commodity to these ruthless smugglers, and we know exactly the tactics of these people. And for them, it's just a profit.
My understanding is that you went to the southern border. Now you're saying that you're going to give people facts. What did you take away from that experience, and what kind of reporting are you going to be bringing back from that experience?
I'll tell you a fact I took away. I talked to the head of all the border guards down there, the head of the union. I asked him straight up, kids are coming over the border with numbers written on them, phone numbers and addresses. Do we check those out? He said, well, we call them. Is it possible that we're sending them into known prostitution rings or sweatshops? He said, it's not possible. It is absolute. We are using American tax dollars to ship children into known prostitution.
Thanks to the system engineered by Alejandro Mayorkas and 𝗟𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦, these kids are prepared for delivery. The Department of Homeland Security, under their watch, mandates that these kids, once in custody, get processed. The cartels, they're not just aware. They are orchestrating this like a well-oiled machine. Every unaccompanied alien child crossing that border comes with a label, not unlike a price tag. Some might have name tags, others badges, or the more brazen ones just have a piece of paper pinned to their shirt. What's on this paper? The names, addresses, and phone numbers of the adult sponsor. But let's call it what it is, the buyer's details. Border Patrol agents following protocol log this information into the child's file, labeling it as their sponsor. But in the dark underworld of human trafficking, these sponsors are the buyers and the end consumers in this grotesque market. So what does this mean for the cartels? No more need for risky smuggling operations or hiring coyotes. They've gamified the system, pinned the buyer's information on the child, and immigration policy does the rest. It's a conveyor belt of exploitation where the children are delivered, not to safety, but into the hands of those who purchase them. This isn't just a failure of policy. It's a blueprint of human trafficking, sanctioned by the very system it's meant to protect. This isn't just a public-private partnership. It's a well-oiled machine of human trafficking with layers of plausible deniability that would make any criminal empire proud. Here's how it works. Border Patrol agents get a child pre-labeled with sponsored details, which is just a sanitized term for buyer. They then pass the child off to HHS, which is Health and Human Services, signaling they've got a package ready. HHS, ever efficient, calls in an NGO, which is a non-governmental organization, not as a savior, but as a delivery man. The NGOs, under the guise of humanitarian aid, pick up the child, delivering him to an HHS intake facility. For 2 to 14 days, the child is in this initial intake process. But what's really happening, HHS is now formally recognizing the buyer as the sponsor. The vetting process begins, but let's be clear, this isn't about safeguarding the child. It's about ensuring the transaction is clean. Once the sponsor passes their quote-unquote qualified check, HHS, with clinical detachment, hands the child back to the NGO. The child, now just cargo, moves from the intake facility to a long-term care facility also ran by the same NGO. This isn't care, it's a stash house where the child is kept until the buyer's paperwork is in order. Finally, when HHS gives the green light, the NGO, with chilling precision, arranges for the child's delivery.
They're unifying children with random people here in the United States from a piece of paper that the child.
And half of the people that probably work in these big companies, these big buildings, the small people who've been working there maybe a week or a month, maybe 2 months, 3 months, they just doing a job. They don't even know. They think they helping these kids. Most of them, I guarantee you that they think they helping these kids. Look at, oh my God, the people who clean and wash and clean the toilets and all that type of stuff and deliver food and stuff to these places. They think they helping because they think they helping these
Child
kids.
has turned in to Border Patrol. That defies belief.
HHS wasn't just an agency. It was at the nerve center of the largest child trafficking operation in history.
Despite raising case after case of trafficking, HHS ORR leadership and the contractor allowed children to be trafficked on their watch.
I could not believe that a federal government agency is using billions of taxpayer dollars to place vulnerable migrant children into the hands of sponsors with criminal history, gang affiliation, to whom many are not even their parents.
HHS employees, under the guise of child welfare, engage in what essentially amounts to vetting buyers for human commodities.
We never saw sponsors face to face, and fake documents were rampant. When we questioned documents, HHS ORR leadership said, "You're not a fake ID expert, and your job is not to investigate the sponsor. Your job is to reunify the child with the sponsor."
This isn't about mismanagement or oversight failures. It's about deliberate, government-sanctioned mechanisms that use the guise of child protection to facilitate trafficking on a scale previously unimaginable.
We were Googling IDs from Texas, IDs from Minnesota, IDs from Tennessee, and we would have to figure out if that in fact matched that ID that they were turning in. That is how crazy it was. There was no training at all. There was no system that would, and I'm sure there is, because if we all have an ID number and they scan your ID anywhere you go or they input your information, I'm sure it tells them that they're where we live or whatnot. We didn't have anything like that. We were getting copies of a copy of an ID. That was us doing fingerprints and background.
My name is Mayra Moreno, and I am not representing anybody. I'm not representing the government or the company. I am only talking about what I witnessed and my personal experience.
So you've received no training. You're then verifying documents that these sponsors
legal documents
to verify that they are who they say they are, that they actually have a legit form of ID, so we can actually understand who this child is going to. They're giving you fake documents, which we know are fake. So we assume that the name is fake, the address can be fake, right. And then you guys are verifying that the only verification you're doing is just looking on Google to see if the ID looks like a Tennessee ID.
Right.
And you're looking at a photocopy of a photocopy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going on Google and going, yeah, I think this photocopy of a photocopy looks. That's the extent of the background check that is done.
Right.
What
and
about
then when you're doing, when you're verifying their home, everything was through Google Maps, Google Earth, and MapQuest. And so you would input the address, and then you would see a house. Sometimes you would see a building. Sometimes you would see a hotel. That was us verifying that, in fact, they did live there. Not until Deborah was the first person there that found child trafficking. Debbie informs Tara and another federal employee who go to the microphone where we're working at, and they make an announcement. And they said, everybody, go to your computer open MapQuest or Google Earth or whatnot, punch in this address. And everybody's punching the address. And they said, okay, now click, and everybody did. And then you just hear like people gasping because it was a strip club. That the address, we were sending people to like a motorhome complex, and then right next to it, it was a strip club. And they had already sent multiple children to that address.
These are apartment buildings that are right by Andy's Golden Salon. And what we've heard is Andy's Golden Salon is actually like a sex ring. By the time I had left, 329 children and counting were being sent. 319 children.
Why wouldn't it stop though? Why would you not?
Meet Deborah White, HHS whistleblower. She was originally stationed at the Pomona Fairgrounds, one of the initial child migrant intake centers. She was thrust into the heart of this operation, giving access to multiple databases. Deborah didn't just stumble upon discrepancies. She uncovered the systemic nature of this trafficking network.
When I presented this case and I said, we have 329 children that have been sent to either 6111 Gulf Freeway or 6113, they basically said, Deborah, what you're showing us here is like speculation. And I'm like, well, 329 kids, I don't think that's speculation, like that's fact, it's in the portal. They said, well, you know, ethnic groups, you know, kind of gather together. So a lot of times, like, I'm like, it's not physically possible to house, okay, a garden of
300, she's trying to say. Dummy. I mean, when do you just say stupid? When do you say that? That's all I'm trying to say. That's what she's trying to say.
Apartment has like what, maybe 12 units. I was like, you can't house 329 kids in 24 units, right? Because it's two buildings, 6113, 6111, right?
I'm at a location of 3600 Telephone Road and Betty Street. You're looking at a location here where we have reports of unaccompanied alien children have been sent to this location over the last 3 years. The number is over 500 children sent to this home here and the adjacent commercial building, which is a catering hall for parties. You can see the big fence here, this high 13-foot fence here or so that's been put up recently. You can tell it's new. It's got cameras on it. And what you have here is some cargo containers now used for storage. You see multiple goes all the way to the back. These children have also been sent to this apartment complex here, reportedly Gateway House Apartments. There are more migrants out there. The Victory Apartments as well. And this whole apartments go all the way down to the end of the street.
So I did my due diligence. I would do aerial views. I would do front views. That's how I caught many cases that were going to dilapidated houses. They look condemned, like boarded up, no windows or boarded up. In this case, this has a facility right next door that is basically a no window facility. Okay, so Andy's Golden Reception Hall is known for potentially sex trafficking, that kind of thing. But it's not been shut down. People know about it, but it's not been shut down. And we were sending kids.
When Deborah, armed with damning evidence, laid out how 329 children were funneled into these addresses, her supervisor's response, speculation, as if proximity and sheer numbers were just a coincidence. Now let's crunch the numbers from apartments.com on Gatehouse Apartments, which were built in 1971. Here's the math. Total, they only have 50 units. 10 units are one-bedroom pads, each with a tight 684 square feet. 30 units, 2 bedrooms, and 10 units have 3 bedrooms. That's 100 rooms in total. To call Deborah's detailed report speculation is absurd. We are talking about cramming 7 kids into every single apartment. This isn't speculation. It's a glaring red flag of a systemic child trafficking right under our noses, dismissed by just the wave of a hand, as if the truth doesn't matter. But the story gets worse. One of those quote-unquote children that got delivered to that address was a 40-year-old woman posing as a 17-year-old child.
This is a 17-year-old.
Oh, dear God.
This is a 17-year-old.
How does that get through?
That's what I said. How did it get through?
How many 26-year-olds?
Right, exactly.
Tons and tons and tons, because they know.
Yeah. Just us, we had like 43. We had like 43 age redeterminations, which means they gave us fraudulent birth certificates.
This wasn't just happening at one facility. It was the modus operandi at HHS intake centers nationwide. At Pomona Fairgrounds, Deborah dealt with 43 age redetermination cases before she left. Adults posing as children to gamify the system with audacious deceit. This is where we cross the line from negligence to outright criminal intent, from child welfare to child trafficking. What types of documentation were you guys being told to accept?
That's
this
crazy.
Person's coming from Guatemala, so he probably doesn't have a U.S. birth certificate or a U.S. passport or a passport at all.
Their country passport. Oh, they don't have an ID. Okay, whatever from their country. So now I was revising documentation that was not from the United States. I mean, I grew up here. I'm familiar with our paper, our IDs and all that stuff. Now I had to revise documentation from other countries that honestly, it was like, what is this?
Wait, so you just said any document, so it could be a birth certificate from another country?
Yes.
No photo on that?
There's no photo in birth certificates.
So you were being ordered, say that was signed off on by a higher up saying that we'll accept this type of document? And you're releasing a child to an unknown adult male. This could be a 49-year-old male that's, let's say he's black, and you could be releasing a 3-year-old Chinese girl to somebody that's obviously a different race, and the only document you have could be a birth certificate from Africa?
Yeah, or even a notarized letter, which...
A notarized letter?
Which is like, I don't know the notary. I mean, over here, I know in America, we have our regulations with notarized documents and stuff. And even like that, sometimes there's issues, right? Now you're dealing with notarized.
I can get you anything
from
notarized
other
for $50.
countries that, exactly.
My best friend she's certified. Anytime I need anything notarized, I got it, $50. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
So you're handing a child over to somebody that's just giving you some type of notarized piece of paper from some notary. And these notaries didn't even have to be a United States notary, or they did?
No.
This is insanity. I mean, there's so many crimes being committed by our own government. It's not laughable because it's children, but like you're telling me these stories and I'm just like, I laughed a minute ago, like it's so unbelievable that this is happening.
I don't understand. I don't understand how people cannot understand this. That's the part I can't understand. These people are supposed to be smarter than us. They supposed to be smart. They supposed to be putting these systems together in our government to help people. We supposed to be helping people and we're not. That is so stupid. If it's 300 kids going to one location from Homeland Security or Child Protective Service, you could cut that number in half and we should have been all over it. We should have been all over it. Man, look here. Y'all stay tuned for part 2. Oh my God, man. I'm trying my best to stomach this. This is ridiculous, man. I'm telling you, the people with the power, the people with the money, the people with the big money, it can be any kind of money according to this. The people with the big government money, they got the big budgets. Yeah, I'm controlling this budget and I'm gonna misuse it. Meanwhile, they are putting people in jail that dip their hands in the government just a little bit. One of the government officials in DC, one of the mayors, took a bribe and he was in jail and then he got out. This small stuff, when this big major stuff is happening and they letting it slide. To get something notarized, a notarized paper, and you can just hand over a kid. It's about to be 2025. Okay, Trump, let's see what you gonna do. Please stop this. That's all I'm asking. Put a hell of a dent into it. I'm gonna get on up out of here, man. Thank y'all so much. Y'all share this video to somebody that has no idea what's going on. That's our goal. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.